Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from RKUD 2240 World Religion 1 will present on marriage culture between Christianity and Judaism. So the presenter is content with first Mira Batrisha, which is me 1723300, and followed by Atirah binti Muhammad Kasim, and then Siti Hajar Nabila. Fourth is Nurul Hanani, fifth is Nur Fatin Fatihah, and then the last will be Nur Salwani. The content of our presentation will be on introduction, the concept of marriage in Christianity and Judaism, the wedding ceremony traditions in Christianity and Judaism, and then the conclusion in Islamic perspective. So for the introduction, we believe that Christianity and Judaism have different beliefs, different rites and rituals, different theology, different books, and what so on. And then one of their belief is Christianity believe on the Trinity, which is God and Son. God have Son, and Judaism believe on the oneness of all, the oneness of God. Sorry, and there is the one of example of their different, and also they also have different in the belief of marriage culture itself. So we will hear on what is the difference in their perspective of marriage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Atir binti Muhammad Kasim. My matric number is 1910918, and I will talk about concept of marriage in Christianity. The legitimacy of marriage in Christianity comes from the Old and New Testament. In the Old Testament tells the story of when God instituted marriage. This took place after the creation of the first woman, Eve, from Adam, the first man. In the New Testament, Paul quotes that the relationship of husband and wife is compared to that between Christ and the church. In Catholic and Orthodox Christianity, marriage is seen as one of the seven sacraments. The concept of marriage as a covenant is rooted in the Hebrew faith, and early Christians preserved the belief as well. Age of marriage in Christianity have a different opinion. In the Coptic Orthodox tradition, the minimum age required for marriage is 17 for boys. In the Roman Orthodox traditions, no specific age is given, but 18 for boys and 15 for girls are considered acceptable. And the Catholic Church also gives the age of 17 for boys and 14 for girls. In this religious tradition, any boys or girls under the marriage age must obtain his or her guardian permission before getting married. In the evangelical church, however, the contract is void before the age of 17 for boys and 15 for girls. There is two conditions of marriage. First, mutual consent of both parties. Second, marriage contract must be executed in the church under the presence of a priest. Next, impediments to the marriage. There is three. First, disparity of religious affiliation. Second, the bond of previous marriage was not dissolved. Third, blood relationship, kinship by affinity, adoption, or spiritual kinship. Polygamy in Christianity mentioned that the Old Testament described numerous examples of polygamy among devotees to God, but the most Christian groups have historically rejected the practice of polygamy and have upheld monogamy alone as normative. And lastly, regarding divorce, the Christian teaching on divorce differ between denominations. The Catholic Church does not recognize divorce. The Church of England and the Church in Wales do not advocate divorce, but it is allowed if the marriage has truly broken down and cannot be repaired. That's all. Thank you.
So inshallah, the next I will present about the concept of marriage in Judaism. Marriage in Judaism. In Judaism, marriage is viewed as a religious and spiritual act. God's first command to human was marriage, as stated in the Genesis. As for the age of marriage in Judaism, the minimum age required for boys and girls are 13 and 12 respectively, and a person should be married by the age of 20. For the condition to marriage in Judaism, the first one is satisfaction and sanctity, in which a declaration of consent in the presence of at least two witnesses accompanied by the giving of a marital gift. And the second condition is marriage contract, known as ketubah, a document which details the obligation of husband and wife. And the last condition is blessing prayer, which should be performed in public. The impediments to marriage in Judaism is religion, which means Jews can marry with non-Jews. And the second one is blood relationship. For the polygamy cases in Judaism, it is permissible, and Jews are permitted to marry up to 4 wives. Also, it is customary for Jews to marry their female slaves. Next, we will see the opinion on divorce in Judaism. Judaism allows divorce, and the authority of divorce is entirely in the hands of the man. Then, we will see the stages of marriage in Judaism. The first stage is Sidduchim, in which the men and women promise to marry each other in the future. And the second stage is Kiddushin, which means the beginning of the bond. And the third stage is Niswin, which means the completion to the bond. The legal bond of marriage between husband and wife is created through Kiddushin and Niswin. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Nurul Hanani binti Fazil, and I will continue with the wedding traditions in Christianity. In Christian, they believe that marriage is a gift from God, and the presence of the priest is a must for the weddings to be valid. First, before marriage, there are preparation before marriage, which is called pre-kana. Pre-kana is an educational and maturing process for married life. It takes place over 6 months or going to an intensive weekend course. It is mandatory for Catholics who wishing to get married, and for the engaged couple are expected to refrain from sexual activity. During marriage, there are a few traditions. There are types of Catholic marriage ceremony. First is the Mass and celebrate the Eucharist, and second is without Mass. So the tradition for the Mass and celebrates the Eucharist, first of all, is the entrance rite, the liturgy of the word, where this step will have the Bible readings from Old Testament and New Testament reading, and then the rite of marriage, where the questions are asked about the couple faithfulness to one another and their willingness to bring up children, and then the vows are made and the rings are exchanged. After that, the liturgy of the Eucharist, where gifts are presented and altar is prepared. So in liturgy of the Eucharist part, the priest praying the prescribed words over the bread and wine, and it will be followed by the offertory songs such as Sanctus Sanctus, Memorial Acclamation, and Great Amen. Next is the communion rite, which in this step the entire congregation will stand and recite the Lord's Prayer and followed by nuptial blessing. So lastly is the concluding rite, which the final blessing is made by the priest and marriage license will be signed and the priest will dismiss the assembly.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Fatiha and I'm going to present on the ceremony traditions in Judaism. So they will have the wedding day in which the chatine, groom and the kala bride are in the state of Yom Kippur, which is they are in pure and clean state, and they will have abstention from food, drink and sex. And at that time, chata will wear skital, which is the traditional white robe that represent the purity that the followers hope to achieve. And next, they will have Kabbalat Panim, which is the meet and greet session with the guests separately for bride and groom. Okay, so the bride will be seated on the throne, accompanied by her two mothers beside her and all the guests. Also for the groom, surrounded by guests. And next is Badakan, which is the veiling of the kala by the chatans as to portray the groom's commitment to close and protect his wife. And next is chupa, which is a canopy outside as to symbolize this the home that they will build together, and they will not wear any jewelry as to show their mutual commitment. It's based on who they are as people, not on any material positions. And the kala also will circles the chata for 7 times. And next is blessings of betrothal, kiddushin, in which they will drink a wine that recited by the rabbi as sanctification of a woman and a woman, of a man and woman to each other. And six is the giving of the ring, and the conditions must be valuable, plain gold without any blemish and ornamentation, and it must be witnessed by two people with declaration to kala, and it is considered fully married when the ring at the forefinger of bride's right hand. And next is ketubah, which is the marriage contract. It outlines the chatan's responsibility to provide food, shelter, and so on, and it must be legally agreement, um, and it considered as the property to kala throughout the marriage. And it is the seven blessings, which is the second cup of wine recited by Rabbi or any people that wish to honor, and it links the chatan and kala to their faith in God, okay, as the bestower of joy and love. And then nine is breaking the glass, which is the chatan will shatters the glass at the floor with his foot as to express his sadness at the destruction of temple. Okay, to show the his spiritual and national destiny of the Jewish people. And then 10, which is Yichud, the couple will be escorted to a private room, Yichud room, for a few minutes as to signify their new status living together. And last but not least is the festive meal, Suda, in which the guests will bring joy, simcha, to the couple through music, dancing, juggling as to celebrate them. I think that's all from me.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nora Salwani binti Muhammad Zakri. So today I will proceed to the conclusion which talk about in the marriage in Islamic perspective according to Islam. As we know, marriage is the legal union of a man and a woman based on mutual consent. It is a contract that results in the man and woman living with each other and supporting each other within the boundaries of their rights and obligations. It also is a mutual contract between a man and woman with the goals of each enjoying the others and becoming a pure family in a sound society. When we talk about marriage in Islam, it brings spiritual, physical, social, and psychological companionship into one's life. Love, kindness, compassion, mutual trust, solace, and social are all created and sustained by this companionship. Marriage also establishes a moral and legal basis for family life. I think marriage is encouraged in Islam as a moral obligation and the way of the prophets. According to some scholars, if a person has the financial or physical means to marry and treat his wife properly and feels strongly that he will participate in unlawful action, if he doesn't, then marriage is a mandatory in his case. If he doesn't have the financial or physical means to marry or fears that when he will not treat his wife properly, then marriage is optional in his case. Allah say in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 2 to 1, do not marry idolaters unless they believe. A believing woman is better than an idolatress, even if you like her, nor shall you give her your daughters in marriage to idolatrous men unless they believe. A believing man is better than an idolatrous, even if you like him. There's invite to hell, while God invite to paradise and forgiveness. As he will, he clarifies his revelations for the people, that they may take heed. So that's all from me. Thank you.